What's up, y'all? Today we're covering picks. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me and I hope you're having a fantastic week. Today we're going to cover flat picks. If you're a beginner, I suggest you learn to use a pick. You can still use your fingers, and you probably will if you just pick up your guitar and play it. The hardcore fingerstyle players will sometimes actually laminate their own fingernails with silk and glue to reinforce their fingernails against wear, because fingernails break. In effect, they're turning their nails into picks. The materials for picks vary pretty widely. You've got all different kinds of synthetics like nylon and Tortex and tortoiseshell and even wood, stone, metal, and felt. The jazz players use felt picks sometimes. I happen to like these. They're from Clayton, USA. They are 1 millimeter thick. I also happen to like the Jim Dunlop Tortex picks in 0.88 millimeter if I want something a little bit thinner. These are the Jim Dunlop Yellows, and they're quite a bit thinner. And they're also a little bit smaller than the Claytons, but they do work. And I do occasionally use these on acoustic work when I'm just doing strumming because they're thinner and they have less resistance and they're just easy. Now sometimes you get promotional picks that are branded picks like Fender or Gibson or whoever will include with a product like a guitar or maybe a pedal or what have you. Usually these are pretty thin picks and they're made of a very hard plastic, and I find that they're prone to breaking. So they are pretty cool and you can keep them, but don't expect to use them in any kind of more serious capacity. I think it's advantageous to have your pick wear, because if your pick is wearing your string, then you could have a moment at the worst possible time. Or just for the fact that replacing a pick is pretty much this easy. Whoop, done. Whereas replacing a string is a pain and generally more expensive. So, good job engineers. The pick wears out first. This is why I don't like metal picks. Metal picks are cool and they make groovy sounds and lots of schwang when you're doing pick slides, but they're absolute heck on a guitar string. So I tend not to use them. Now these thinner picks are great for acoustic, as I mentioned before. They're also somewhat beginner friendly, and especially if you're playing an acoustic, they do seem to glide over the strings, which is nice. And they'll bend a lot more readily, which generally means it's far less likely that you're going to pop the pick out of your hand while you're strumming. The pick is just going to bend as opposed to flipping out. And generally, you probably experienced this by now if you've played for any length of time. When you drop a pick, where does it go? Straight into the acoustic sound hole in your acoustic guitar. So using a thinner pick will probably have you fishing a pick out at least a little bit less. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. So electric guitars that you play a lot of fast single lines over, or certainly have the potential to, will favor a slightly thicker pick. This one's a fairly thick one. Perhaps the only drawback of the Jim Dunlops is that you will wear the ink right off of them really quick. So couldn't tell you what the thickness of this one is, but it's pretty good size. But it's nice for those single note runs if you're going to play relatively quickly. If you're using super thin, super light strings, you probably don't want to use a super heavy pick. It just isn't a great combo. You're going to knock the strings out of tune more than likely, and it's a little bit heavier handed than you like, so you might want to back it down. By the same token, if you're using super heavy strings, you can get away with a light pick, but you might want a bigger pick, a thicker pick, to really get the strings to move. So in some ways, you're going to want to match your strings to your picks. But again, it's personal preference, and you have to see what works best for you. Most picks have a triangular shield kind of shape. It has a single point and then rounded shoulders. So you generally want to use the pointy bit of your pick, although some people do actually play with the shoulder. Now there are some picks that are all pointy ends. This one is another Clayton, USA, and it's basically just a picky triangle, and you can use any of the points you want. This is really great for playing bass, and it's the reason I have it. It's on the chunky side. It's a little bigger than most, but it'll still do the business on guitar. There was a speed training pick that was very popular back in the 80s when shreddy metal was certainly exploding, and it had literally like a diamond 3D shape on the tip. So it forced you to play with just the very, very tip of it, and if you dug the pick in too close to the guitar, the backside of that diamond would catch. And it was great for speed training, but man, it was a super frustrating tool. And I seem to have lost mine. And honestly, I'm not even sure if they're still produced today. But that was definitely a trick pick. There are also fingerstyle picks that will actually attach to your fingers. And it'll slip over your thumb and slip over your fingers and let you pluck at your instrument that way, usually used by banjo players. My Uncle Chip had a set of those, as he was a banjo player, and as a little kid, I thought those were cool. They were kind of fascinating. They're very, very neat little gadgets to look at. But I tried to use them on guitar, and just it didn't work for me. But it's something that you could try if you feel like experimenting. It might actually work out for you. Okay, the pick is not a bird beak, so you're not, it's not like you're doing this. This is bad. Don't do this. Don't. Oh. I guess you can, but it's really not going to cut it. So take your pick. You want the pointy end pointed towards the strings. So you really just curl your finger and place it here. You drop your thumb on it, and then you've got it pointed at a 90-degree angle away from your thumb. And in this way, you're going to play. You want this thing like way out here because you're going to drop it. It's going to pop out of your fingers. If you have it super duper crazy town close, then your fingers are probably going to foul the strings as you play it, and that's not going to be any good. So there's sort of a reasonable distance that you want to establish, and it might be a little different for everybody, but you'll find it. Right? So picking, it's you resting your arm on the upper bout of your guitar, and you've got your setup. I will tend to fan my fingers sometimes, and other times I'll curl them. It just depends on me. Sometimes I rest my fingers here on the pick guard. It gives me an anchor. I occasionally will drop my hand on the bridge and play from there. But the key thing is I'm rotating with my wrist, and sometimes I'm rotating with my elbow if I'm really trying to get that strum going. You want to keep that going in time with the music, and try not to stop. Try to just keep it rolling. That way you can keep better time. It's just a timekeeping mechanism. So now I prefer alternate picking, and we covered alternate picking a little bit in the finger exercises video. But really, what does that mean? It just means that I'm alternating my up and my down strokes, and it's just efficient, instead of having to cycle back around to catch those notes. I'm just, I'm right on top of it. So easy to figure out. Especially for single line runs, alternate picking I think is the way to go. There are some people who do strictly down picks, and they can be pretty fast. And in fact, there are certain metal players who will do only downstrokes because it's got a heavier sound, it's a little bit more defined. You know, if they're just chugging away, bang, 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 then yeah, downstroke only, it could work. As an efficient player, you probably want to develop your alternate picking. Okay, here we have the special case, an electric 12 string. Owing to the geometry and the layout of the strings, there's a big string and a small string for each of the 6 string positions, except for the top 2, which are just small strings. When you're playing a 12 string, in order to get all the strings to ring out, you really need to just do downstrokes. If I do alternate picking, on the lower strings especially, I'm probably going to miss the tiny little string that's hiding behind the big string. That's alternate picked. That's down picks only. The choice is yours. You've got a ton of different selections of picks to try out. And don't be shy. Give them a shot. Try all kinds of different ones. When you start to narrow it down, you know, don't be the person with a pick. Oh no, I lost the pick. There are lots of different solutions for not having a pick. There's the little pick magazine that you can stick into your guitar case, and that's pretty handy. I've had one in my Les Paul case for a really long time, and it has yet to fail me. Yeah, remember these? These are bad boys right here. This attaches to your microphone stand in a live situation, and then you can have picks just at your disposal. And you know, it used to be the jam. This was like the heat, and guitar players had sometimes 2 or 3 of these on their stands, just all over the place. So yes, I am a relic from back in the day, and I still have my Dunlop pick holder, my pick stripper clip, if you will. But yeah, there's really no excuse for not having a pick, man. They're cheap. Like I say, you buy, there's a bag, I don't know, like 80. There's just a crap ton of picks in here. All right, I hope you have a better understanding of picks and picking technique. And now you know there's a lot more to it than just picking your favorite color. So, remember, I'm Doc. We're going to train the mind and the ear, get those hands going, and learn about some gear. And if you like this lesson, please comment, say something, share it, like it, subscribe to this channel even. That would be awesome. Just interact. I promise I'll talk to you in the comments. It'll be great. Have your say. All right. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye now. What's up, y'all? Today we're covering picks. Let's do it again. The more hardcore style finger stuff. And the Jim Dunlop picks in 8. I don't know what I'm saying. What you doing, Percy? Okay, I hope you have a better. Oh my. It's smoking hot. This is Doc, and I probably already said that.